Yesterday, April 3rd, 2026, an American F-15E Strike Eagle fell from the sky over western Iran. The pilot was rescued by special forces in a dangerous extraction mission. The weapons systems officer is still missing. Iran has offered a bounty for his capture. Civilians have been told to shoot American helicopters on sight. While search and rescue teams risk their lives in hostile territory, something else is happening. Boeing stock didn't fall on news that one of their aircraft was shot down. It held steady. Defense stocks across the board remained elevated. Oil futures spiked another 3%. Trading desks that anticipated the shootdown had already positioned themselves before the wreckage hit the ground. This is the first time since the 2003 Iraq invasion that enemy fire has downed an American fighter jet. Hours later, an A-10 Thunderbolt was also hit, crashing in Kuwait after the pilot ejected over the Persian Gulf. Two Black Hawk helicopters taking part in the rescue mission were struck by Iranian fire, wounding crew members aboard. The Pentagon says 13 Americans have died in Operation Epic Fury. 365 have been wounded. The human cost is mounting, but so are the profits. Over the next 19 minutes, I'm going to expose 20 dark reasons why billionaires are secretly profiting from every American jet shot down over Iran. 20 revenue streams that flow from wreckage. 20 agendas that benefit from extended conflict. By the end, you'll understand that for certain people, every aircraft lost is not a tragedy. It's a transaction. Subscribe now. This is the money trail they don't want you to follow. Reason number 1. Boeing collects insurance payouts and replacement contracts for every F-15 lost in combat, transforming destroyed aircraft into guaranteed future revenue. The F-15E Strike Eagle shot down yesterday costs approximately $90 million. Boeing doesn't absorb that loss. The aircraft was government property, covered by defense appropriations that will fund replacements. Here's how the economics work. When an F-15 is destroyed, the Air Force must replace it. Replacement orders flow to Boeing. The company's $194 billion backlog grows larger. Each lost aircraft becomes a line item in future defense budgets that Congress must approve. But it gets darker. In December 2025, Boeing secured an $8.58 billion contract to provide F-15IA jets to Israel. 25 aircraft with an option for 25 more. The contract was announced the same week Trump met Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago. The jets are being built in St. Louis, with delivery projected through 2035. At every F-15 lost in Iran validates the platform. Combat performance data feeds into marketing materials. The more aircraft engaged, the more data collected. The more data collected, the more valuable the next sale becomes. Boeing doesn't need American jets to survive. Boeing needs American jets to fly combat missions. Losses are acceptable externalities in a business model designed for perpetual conflict. Reason number 2. Defense contractors placed approximately 6,000 oil futures contracts minutes before Trump's March 23 announcement, suggesting systematic insider trading around presidential war communications. The Financial Times investigation revealed something extraordinary. On March 22, between 6:49 and 6:50 a.m. New York time, approximately 6,200 Brent and West Texas Intermediate contracts changed hands. This was 15 minutes before Trump posted on Truth Social that he was pausing strikes on Iran for productive conversations. The notional value of those positions was approximately $580 million. When Trump's message posted, oil prices immediately fell. Whoever placed those short positions made tens or hundreds of millions in profit from information they could only have obtained through advanced knowledge of the president's announcement. Senator Chris Murphy called it mind-blowing corruption. He noted that prediction markets like Polymarket and Kalshare create fundamentally corrupt markets that provide perverse incentives for government officials to shape life and death decisions around their own financial interests. 8 new Polymarket accounts, all created around March 21st, collectively bet nearly $70,000 on a ceasefire before March 31st, positioning themselves to make $820,000 if successful. 6 accounts created in February made approximately $1 million by correctly betting the U.S. would strike Iran by February 28. That war has become a trading instrument. Presidential communications have become market signals. And someone with access to both is getting very rich while Americans die. Reason number 3. Trump's 48-hour ultimatum expiring Monday creates a predictable volatility window that sophisticated traders are already positioning to exploit. This morning, April 4th, Trump posted on Truth Social, "Time is running out. 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them." The deadline expires Monday. Markets know this. Traders know this. The pattern is now established. Every Trump deadline creates a binary outcome. Either Iran complies and prices fall, or Iran refuses and prices spike. Either outcome is profitable if you know which way to bet before the deadline passes. Senator Lindsey Graham confirmed he spoke with Trump about the ultimatum. "I am completely convinced that he will use overwhelming military force against the regime if they continue to impede the Strait of Hormuz. The information pipeline from the White House to Wall Street is open. Those with access to presidential thinking can position themselves before announcements. Those without access react after." The wealth transfer is systematic. Monday's deadline isn't just about Iran. It's about who profits from knowing what Trump will do before he does it. That were 3 reasons in. And you're already seeing the architecture. War isn't chaos. It's a trading system. Subscribe if you want to see the other 17 profit streams flowing from American wreckage. Reason number 4. Lockheed Martin stock has surged 40% since January as THAAD and Patriot missile systems deplete faster than they can be manufactured. Iran has launched over 500 ballistic missiles since February 28th. Each interception costs money. Patriot missiles cost $4 million each. THAAD interceptors cost $12 million each. In one documented incident, 11 Patriot missiles were used to intercept a single Iranian missile. Lockheed Martin signed a deal with the Pentagon in January to quadruple THAAD interceptor production from 96 to 400 per year. The missiles are being consumed faster than they're being built. This is the business model. The more missiles Iran fires, the more interceptors America uses. The more interceptors used, the more Lockheed must produce. The more production required, the higher the stock price climbs. Lockheed's backlog entering 2026 stands at $194 billion. Revenue projections run between $77.50 and $80 billion. The company earns an A rating in financials from market analysts. Every Iranian missile that launches toward American bases is money flowing into Lockheed shareholders' accounts. The interception footage you see on television is a live demonstration of wealth transfer from taxpayers to defense stockholders. Reason number 5. RTX Corporation, formerly Raytheon, has seen stock increases of 110% since March 2023 as Tomahawk and Patriot systems become the workhorses of Operation Epic Fury. RTX makes the Patriot radar and ground systems. They make Tomahawk missiles. They make the AMRAAM air-to-air missiles protecting American jets over Iran. Their backlog stands at $268 billion. On the first trading day after the war began, RTX stock rose 4.7%. Since 2023, the company has seen the largest gains among major defense contractors. The company's products are being expended daily. Each Tomahawk launched at Iranian targets costs approximately $2 million. Each AMRAAM protecting F-15s costs approximately $1 million. The Pentagon is burning through inventory designed to last years and weeks. Defense Secretary Hegseth has acknowledged that Pentagon buying patterns created the lack of manufacturing capacity now being exposed. But the solution isn't slower consumption. It's faster production. Faster production means larger contracts. Larger contracts mean higher stock prices. That RTX shareholders are watching their portfolios grow with every strike package launched against Tehran. Reason number 6. Northrop Grumman controls autonomous drone and space-based surveillance technologies, seeing unprecedented funding as the Pentagon seeks persistent eyes on Iranian mobile launchers. The U.S. has lost at least 16 MQ-9 Reaper drones over Iran since the war began. General Atomics makes the Reapers, but Northrop Grumman makes the surveillance systems that direct them and the satellites that coordinate strikes. On March 2nd, Northrop Grumman stock jumped 6%, the highest single-day gain among major contractors. The company dominates the autonomous systems and space-based sensing sectors, now receiving emergency funding. Iran's ability to shoot down American drones and aircraft creates demand for the next generation of systems. Every loss validates investment in more advanced, more autonomous, harder-to-kill platforms. Northrop's B-2 bombers are conducting strikes over Iran. Their satellite systems are tracking Iranian missile launchers. Their electronic warfare capabilities are degrading Iranian air defenses. Every mission generates performance data that feeds into the next contract competition. The more the current war consumes, the more the future war requires. Reason number 7. Oil majors are extracting windfall profits as Brent crude has surged 60% in the largest monthly price gain since records began in the 1980s. Brent crude surpassed $126 per barrel at its peak. The monthly gain in March 2026 was the steepest on record. European finance ministers from Spain, Germany, Italy, Portugal, and Austria are now demanding windfall taxes on energy companies. Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz has removed approximately 20% of global oil supply from the market. The International Energy Agency calls this the largest supply disruption in the history of global oil markets. For oil companies, this is pure profit. ExxonMobil and Chevron's production costs haven't changed, but the price they receive for each barrel has nearly doubled. The spread between cost and revenue flows directly to shareholders. While American consumers pay over $4 per gallon at the pump, oil executives are calculating bonus structures. While European households face inflation driven by energy prices, energy company dividends are increasing. The IEA head said the next month will be much worse than March. For consumers, that's a warning. For oil shareholders, it's a forecast of continued profit. Reason number 8. Insurance companies are charging war risk premiums that have multiplied tenfold, extracting billions from shipping companies with nowhere else to turn. Before the war risk premiums for Gulf transit ran approximately $50,000 per voyage. During the conflict, premiums have spiked above $500,000. Some voyages now carry million-dollar war risk charges. Lloyd's of London added waters around Oman to its list of high-risk maritime areas. Every vessel attempting to transit the region faces exponentially higher insurance costs. Approximately 15,000 vessels transit the Strait of Hormuz annually. At elevated premiums, the insurance industry extracts billions in revenue that didn't exist before the crisis. Here's the elegant part: if attacks happen, premiums were priced to cover losses plus margin. If attacks don't happen, premiums are pure profit. The insurance industry wins regardless of outcome. They profit from fear as much as from actual damage. Every jet shot down, every ship attacked, every oil facility burning validates the premium structure. The images on your screen are actuarial justification for wealth extraction. Reason number 9. Prediction market platforms have exploded to combined monthly volumes of $18.3 billion as war betting becomes a mainstream financial instrument. Polymarket and Kalshare, the largest prediction market platforms, are each seeking valuations approaching $20 billion. Their combined monthly trading volume reached $18.3 billion in February 2026, up from less than $2 billion in August 2025. That you can now bet on whether American jets will be shot down. You can bet on whether Iran will reopen Hormuz. You can bet on whether Trump will strike oil infrastructure. You can bet on ceasefire dates. These aren't abstract financial instruments. They're direct bets on human lives and military operations. The Guardian reported coordinated betting patterns suggesting insider knowledge. Accounts created days before major events placed bets that paid off spectacularly. The correlation between account creation timing and correct predictions exceeds statistical probability. War has been gamified. The deaths of American service members have become betting outcomes. And the house always wins. Reason number 10. Defense startup valuations have exploded as Silicon Valley pivots from consumer apps to combat systems with proven Iranian battlefield performance. The traditional defense primes aren't the only beneficiaries. A new generation of defense technology companies is emerging. AeroVironment makes tactical drones. Palantir provides AI-driven battlefield intelligence. Kratos makes unmanned combat vehicles. Endural makes autonomous systems. Shield AI makes AI pilots. These companies are seeing investor interest surge as their technologies prove themselves in Iranian operations. Venture capital that once flowed to social media apps now flows to autonomous weapons. The logic is simple. Consumer tech markets are saturated. Defense markets are expanding. The $1.5 trillion military budget Trump proposed for 2027 represents opportunity that dwarfs any app store. Every successful drone strike, every AI-assisted targeting decision, every autonomous system that performs in combat validates the investment thesis. Iranian battlefields are proving grounds for the next generation of Silicon Valley fortunes. Reason number 11. Currency traders are extracting billions from Iranian rial collapse, dollar strength, and Gulf currency stress as forex volatility reaches historic levels. The Iranian rial has collapsed to historic lows. The central bank issued a 10 million rial note, its largest denomination ever. Food inflation in Iran has reached 105%. Bread and cereals are up 140%. Red meat up 135%. For currency traders, collapse is opportunity. Every wave of rial decline creates trading opportunities for speculators positioned correctly. The collapse isn't linear. It happens in waves, with partial recoveries followed by further declines. Each wave is profit for those who can predict timing. The dollar has strengthened as flight to safety capital flows to American assets. Gulf currencies face pressure from regime stability questions. Forex markets trade trillions daily. Even small percentage movements represent enormous wealth transfer. Hedge funds employing former Treasury and Federal Reserve officials have expertise in predicting currency movements driven by geopolitical events. They understand how policy responds because they used to make policy. Reason number 12. Reconstruction contractors are already positioning for post-war contracts based on the Iraq model that generated $60 billion in deals. Every facility destroyed will be rebuilt. Every bridge bombed will be reconstructed. Every oil installation damaged will be repaired. The destruction is temporary. The reconstruction contracts are permanent. Trump posted video of Iran's B-1 bridge in Karaj, the tallest bridge in the Middle East, being destroyed. The biggest bridge in Iran comes tumbling down, never to be used again. Much more to follow. He's wrong about never. The bridge will be rebuilt. The contract will be worth hundreds of millions. The company's positioning now will execute then. Halliburton made billions from Iraq reconstruction. Bechtel made billions. KBR made billions. The same companies are watching Iranian infrastructure fall and calculating future revenue. This doesn't require deliberate destruction for profit. It requires financial interests that aren't aligned with preservation. It requires powerful actors who don't lose when things break. Reason number 13. Private military contractors are billing premium rates for personnel deployed to protect assets that regular military can't adequately secure. The war has created security gaps that private contractors fill. Oil facilities, embassy compounds, executive protection for corporate personnel remaining in the region. Specialized skills the military doesn't have capacity to deploy. PMC rates during active conflict zones exceed normal deployments by multiples. Daily rates that might run $500 to $800 in peacetime escalate to $1,500 to $3,000 or higher in hot war zones. The personnel are often former special forces. The expertise is genuine, but the pricing reflects scarcity and danger, both of which increase with conflict intensity. Every escalation that stretches military capacity creates demand for private alternatives. Every threat to corporate assets justifies expanded protection contracts. The worse the war gets, the more the PMC industry profits. Reason number 14. Shipbuilders are receiving emergency orders as the Navy burns through vessel maintenance faster than peacetime budgets anticipated. The USS Gerald R. Ford has been deployed for what will extend into a record-breaking 11th month. The carrier suffered a fire that required repairs in Greece. Extended deployments accelerate where on vessels designed for different operational tempos. Huntington Ingalls Industries built the Ford. They build the Virginia-class submarines. On April 1st, General Dynamics secured a $1.27 billion contract modification for Virginia-class submarine support. Extended combat operations mean accelerated maintenance cycles. Accelerated maintenance means larger contracts. Larger contracts mean higher shipbuilder revenues. The companies that build and maintain the fleet profit from the operational tempo that wears the fleet out faster. The cycle is self-reinforcing. Reason number 15. Jet fuel traders are capturing unprecedented spreads as the war has more than doubled prices for kerosene-based products. The war has more than doubled the price of jet fuel and diesel. Refineries lack certain types of crude oil that normally transit Hormuz. The disruption cascades through the entire petroleum product chain. Airlines are raising baggage fees. United and JetBlue increased charges this week. Korean Air has shifted to emergency management mode. The Philippines president says grounding planes is a distinct possibility. But somewhere between the crude oil price and the airline ticket price, traders are capturing spreads. The refineries that can process available crude types are commanding premiums. The traders who control jet fuel inventory are extracting margins that didn't exist in normal markets. The logistics companies that can move fuel despite disruptions are charging accordingly. War scarcity creates war pricing. War pricing creates war profits. Reason number 16. Fertilizer producers are experiencing price surges as 30% of globally traded fertilizers normally transit Hormuz. The Persian Gulf produces roughly 30 to 35% of global urea exports and 20 to 30% of ammonia exports. Up to 30% of internationally traded fertilizers normally transit the strait. Unlike oil, the fertilizer sector has no internationally coordinated strategic reserves. There's no equivalent to the strategic petroleum reserve that governments can release to stabilize markets. Middle East granular urea prices rose nearly 20% in early March compared to late February. Diammonium phosphate and other fertilizer prices also surged. Because nitrogen fertilizer production relies on natural gas as feedstock, the rise in energy prices amplified production costs further. Fertilizer price increases flow directly to food prices. Food price increases hit consumers globally, but the producers and traders with inventory are capturing windfall margins. This translates to farmer costs, which translate to food costs, which translate to inflation that affects billions of people. The profit concentration is narrow. The cost distribution is global. Reason number 17. Satellite imagery companies are billing premium rates for real-time intelligence that military and commercial clients need but can't obtain through normal channels. The commercial satellite imagery market has expanded dramatically during the conflict. Airbus, Maxar, Planet Labs, and others are providing images that inform both military operations and media coverage. CNN obtained Airbus imagery showing the destroyed E-3 AWACS aircraft at Prince Sultan Air Base. Commercial imagery is filling gaps that classified systems can't share publicly, but the premium rates during active conflict exceed normal commercial pricing. Real-time tasking of satellites to specific coordinates commands premiums. Rapid turnaround on analysis commands premiums. The companies that invested in satellite constellations during peacetime are harvesting returns during wartime. The conflict validates the business model and attracts further investment. Reason number 18. Media conglomerates are experiencing engagement surges that translate directly to advertising revenue as war coverage dominates screens. War is good for ratings. Crisis is good for clicks. Fear is good for advertising revenue. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and digital platforms are all experiencing viewership spikes during Hormuz developments. The F-15 shootdown dominated yesterday's coverage. The search for the missing weapons officer dominates today's. The financial incentive is toward coverage that maintains tension, not fabricating news, but emphasizing the most dramatic developments, highlighting the missing pilot, the bounty Iran has offered, the armed civilians told to shoot at helicopters. Resolution would collapse viewership. Extended crisis sustains it. The business model is aligned with continued conflict, not its end. Reason number 19. Political fundraising on both sides is extracting donations from constituencies alarmed by coverage that both parties benefit from continuing. Trump's campaign benefits from projecting strength. Democratic campaigns benefit from criticizing the war. Both need the conflict at levels that keep their constituencies alarmed and donating. Defense industry PACs contribute to politicians supporting military action. Peace activist organizations fund politicians opposing it. Both sides of the political spectrum extract donations from the same crisis. Senator Murphy's criticism of insider trading generated coverage. Senator Graham's endorsement of Trump's ultimatum generated coverage. Both are positioned for fundraising appeals to their respective bases. Resolution would end the fundraising cycle. The war provides content for appeals that would otherwise require different issues. Reason number 20. The next F-15 contract is already being written based on combat performance data being collected right now from aircraft flying and dying over Iran. Every F-15 mission over Iran generates data. Every successful strike, every evasion of Iranian air defenses, every electronic warfare engagement, every unfortunately successful Iranian interception. This data feeds directly into future procurement decisions. It informs modifications to existing aircraft. It shapes specifications for the next generation of systems. The F-15 that was shot down yesterday will be analyzed intensively. What went wrong? What systems failed? What can be improved? The answers will appear in the next contract requirements. Boeing is already building F-15IAs for Israel. Egypt is in talks for 46 F-15EX fighters. Saudi Arabia operates F-15SAs. Every user wants to know how the platform performs in actual combat. The pilot missing in Iran right now is generating data that will inform billion-dollar decisions. His aircraft's destruction is already being incorporated into future sales projections. That's the darkest reason of all. 20 reasons. 20 profit streams. 20 explanations for why certain people need this war to continue regardless of its human cost. The F-15E that fell yesterday wasn't just an aircraft. It was a transaction. The pilot rescued was a liability avoided. The weapons officer still missing is a news cycle extended to Trump's Monday deadline will pass. Either Iran complies and certain traders profit from falling prices, or Iran refuses and certain traders profit from rising prices. Either way, the volatility window generates returns. The 13 dead Americans are not casualties of war to the people profiting from it. They're externalities of a business model. Their deaths are priced into the system. This is the architecture of modern conflict. Not nations fighting for survival or ideology. Financial interests generating returns from instability. Shareholders extracting value from wreckage. The jets keep flying. The missiles keep launching. The oil keeps spiking. The stocks keep rising. The money keeps flowing. And somewhere in western Iran, an American weapons officer is hiding from armed civilians while traders position themselves for Monday's deadline. Subscribe if you want to keep following the money. Share this with someone who still believes wars are about the reasons stated. And understand that every jet lost is a profit booked somewhere. They don't need us to survive. They just need us to keep fighting. And that's exactly what we're doing.